comfortable to different type of investors to try to come to the country and set up some business and try to have some added values in front of other jurisdictions in the area. For a basic process for company incorporation in El Salvador, in last February, there was a process approved when basically you can set up a company online, okay? As many of you guys in the US are super accustomed to set up an LLC. The corporation registry here launched that service in February. There are some things that are in the development, but we hope that basically that will be a driver to basically incentivize the creation of more companies in El Salvador. But while that finished to be like fully implemented, these are some basic requirements that every investor that wants to set up something in El Salvador needs to comply. For example, you need a minimum of 2 shareholders to set up an entity in El Salvador. They don't need to be Salvadorian, okay, as in other jurisdictions like Mexico or Brazil, that at least 1% needs to be from the nationality. Here, you don't need to comply, or there is not a type of requirement. Also, it can be from any nationality and can be as individuals or corporations, okay, to form the entity. Also, in order to set up a company, you don't need to be in the country, okay? You don't need to fly here. Basically, we appoint 2 people as the foundational shareholders, and then you sell or transfer the shares. Your entity is created in a 3 to 5 business days term. The minimum capital to set up a company is $2,000, but the law gives you these benefits of only paying 5% at the moment of the setup, and then the remaining amount in 12 months, okay? Basically, you only need your passport or residency card if you already have a legal status here in El Salvador to set up the entity. You need to have your also tax ID card. Is not because you are going to tax here or something, but it's easier for identification the people in this process. And some also basic requirements, company name, in order to like check if it's available or doesn't match with other company names. The business purpose, we're going to advance on the different business purposes that you can develop here in El Salvador and have a juicy tax benefits, okay? Shares value, okay, $1, $5, $10, etc. And the shares distribution, how much the company will be owned. In order to start with the tax benefits, there are licenses that need to be obtained, so we can apply of these. Of course, one of the most important one, or the most important one, let's say, the Bitcoin license basically allows you to run all these type of benefits. You want to run a wallet, have it based here, payment processing, an exchange, an over-the-counter desk, a custody service, or even mining, okay? All those type of businesses are covered under the Bitcoin license. The Bitcoin license is issued by the Central Reserve Bank in a 3 to 5 business days stops term. At the moment, there are no government fees involved on the Bitcoin license. In other jurisdictions that have similar licenses, the amount is between $30,000 and $50,000. Okay. At the moment, the government of El Salvador, in order to like incentivize investment and bringing more people to set up businesses here, it doesn't charge any amount. The Central Reserve Bank don't charge any amount as a licensing fee, let's say, to try to run some business related on the Bitcoin industry. The most important tax benefit that the Bitcoin license brings you is zero capital gains tax, okay? There are no capital gains in El Salvador when you are doing business with Bitcoin. At the moment, I'm founding board member of the Bitcoin Association, so we are working with the Bitcoin office, led by Stacy, in order to create more tax benefits, a wide range of tax benefits, as you will see later on, that other licenses and other type of startups have, so they can basically match or even surpass the benefits that the Bitcoin license grant at this moment, okay? There is already a small draft of the amendments of some articles of the Bitcoin law that have been presented. They are, in kind of congressional discussion. I hope that by in a period of 3 months tops, they could be like approve or at least some amendments to apply more tax benefits to Bitcoin business can be granted. Why I mentioned adopting El Salvador, because with the Freedom Citizenship Program that I imagine you are fully aware about it, basically you can also have a citizenship here, okay, by this donation program, and you can also enjoy all these tax benefits that you're seeing here, and you will see in the other type of businesses. There is also a digital asset license, okay, because there is another world of services that the government has been pushing to also set up here in the country. The interesting part of that regulation is all these set of tax benefits that you have when you decide to establish something related to digital assets in El Salvador. At the moment, there has been several amount of companies exploring the asset tokenization industry, okay? El Salvador, basically based on this regulation, has the ability to basically surpass Panama as a financial capital hub of the region, okay? Because basically you can structure a different set of financial products. You can launch it, list it, basically you can build anything that the financial engineering of your project allowed to, and you have basically zero income tax, okay? Zero withhold tax, zero value added tax, no municipal taxes, no tax dividend. That's something important. There are other jurisdictions that for the dividends, they are always taxed, okay? Zero import duties tax, okay? That's important because basically, if there are any equipment, machinery, assets, etc., that you will need to run your digital asset business, you don't need to pay any type of import duties, okay? And there's also been some support with customs in order to all these, let's say, a strategy that is in development in order to make also faster times, expedited processes, in order to bring to the country any machinery or assets that could be necessary to the development of this business. And well, another one that is also included the Bitcoin license, zero capital gains. We are in the early stage of basically seeing all the potential of this license, okay? But there are been already some issuances in the country that are creating like the expectation and the conditions to work towards diversifying like the finance grid of the country, the finance grid of the company, basically creating a real decentralization industry and market for startups or small business companies to basically enjoy the benefits to try to get a funding their business through this method, okay? This is a regulation that was pushed by the Ministry of Economics last year in order to try to create basically a startup hub for El Salvador, okay? In the industry, based on the advancements this country has had, let's say since 2021 up to date, we have started fighting some projects with Costa Rica that has always been like the leading country in Central America for startup hubs, semiconductor, etc. So the idea from the President's office and the Minister of Economics wants to launch a regulation that incentivizes the development, creation, setup, relocation of startups, okay? So basically this law, besides giving also a bunch of tax benefits, incentivizes a lot of industries that also Bitcoin is involved, okay? Has some relations with it. I have already participated in 5 process with startups that from different type of range and business that are looking to obtain these benefits. Okay, this is like the first batch of economic activities startups can set up here and develop in order to obtain tax benefits. Basically, the letter A is for a software development company, okay? It doesn't need to be like, yeah, 2 guys got together and we're going to set up our business. You need to have like a real project. You are going to build not the next PayPal, but you have a product. You really are going to employ some people here. There are other regulations that incentivize also investment and give you tax benefits very similar to this. But for example, you need to have a minimum investment of $250,000 or hire 40 people as soon as you start the company. This regulation doesn't oblige you to any type of minimum investment, okay? And doesn't oblige you to a minimum amount of people to hire. Basically, imagine you are pitching an investor for funds. We will go and pitch the Ministry of Economics with our project. They will see our business plan, our cash flow, etc. And depending of how promising the project really is, they will decide to basically give you these tax benefits, okay? Second is cloud computing services, AI. AI is something that we are pushing really hard to bring to the country, okay? I just see the last batch of Y Combinator, let's say class that enter around 90% of all the startups that apply to Y Combinator for the funding, we're working on AI. So yeah, that's a real hard indicator of basically where the startup industry is shifting. So this is an activity that is fully incentivized. Distributed ledger technology, okay? There was some criteria not matching there at the beginning, but basically imagine you have a software to run a wallet, a Bitcoin wallet globally, okay? You can easily apply to that benefit, okay? Or any other type of white label software focused to Bitcoin industry could apply, okay? Cybersecurity solutions, quantum computing. The letter G is like very broad. So we have also an interesting opportunity there because it's kind of tailor-made. You can tailor-made your business, let's say, trying to match it to that because it's huge, okay? Also, the other activities incentivized are also very wide. For example, the letter H for chain distribution is something like very from the industrial point of view. But if you have something that know or think that basically could impact on a global industry, or at least at a regional perspective, could apply to this to these tax benefits that we will see in a moment. The letter I basically also has a big relationship with all the mining that El Salvador is trying to develop, okay? If you have new waves to enter energy into the energy matrix that are not discovered, not developed, that I think possibly, depending on the project you have, could be a more direct involvement from the government on trying to look public partnership projects, depending, is also included. And the last one is basically, if you think you can research and develop new technology here in the country, you can apply, okay? You can apply, basically sell it to the Ministry of Economics, and it's doable. Definitely they are going to buy it, okay? These are the tax benefits that also this regulation brings. These are for a period of 15 years, okay? For a period of 15 years, but most of, well, to me, all the taxes that are exempted are amazing, but to me, one of the most important one is the import taxes, because most of the times, the technology industry requires a lot of asset, equipment, hardware to test, develop, create, okay? And they are exempted from import duties, okay? So that's a huge saver there. And on the income tax and withhold tax part, let's imagine you're a startup, you are not making profit in the first 12, 34 months, but you can start really building a minimum viable product here with all these tax benefits. Again, based on my experience, to me, the import duty is like the most important one. You can basically set up your research shop center or something here as at a really relevant costs. And finally, to me, the added values of these regulations that we have seen, and I have tried to like be very practical, not super technical and boring. To me, the added values that El Salvador jurisdiction has and where it's trying to locate on the technology and startup industry is basically we have an early adopter advantage. We are here, okay, for an early adopter advantage launch in 2021. We have a really good regulatory clarity, okay? I work a lot with startups and companies in the US, in some of them as NASDAQ listed, so regulation by the Securities Exchange Commission, Treasury, and all the government agents, FinCEN that you may know is, besides that, it's super expensive, money that can be used to grow your business, hire more people, expand, diversify is used to regulatory, bunch of stuff. So here, there are not that many agencies, of course, but the legal frameworks are very basic and very friendly to work with. And as you imagine, the government officers are not like, they are stopping you to do business. Basically, in some cases, they can be kind of annoying, but because they are trying to understand the business, not because they are trying to stop it or not letting you grow, okay? But 99% of the cases, they are like, okay, explain me first your business in order to see how can I do some type of audit or supervision, etc., or how can I help you to grow, okay? There is a really big strategy of collaboration with government strategies. And I don't mean like giving money to the government. It's like, hey, I have this idea, I have all these partners, resources, et cetera, that I think that if we launch or develop this project together, can be really good for this industry. So they are really open to hear, review your project, be like super honest of we already are doing something similar, or yeah, we would like to engage in more formal conversation. Let's sign an NDA, let's get some government official and see if this can land to something. Of course, the tax exemption are super easy. There are really good tax exemption for different industries. And to me, the last one is nearshoring. US is one of the biggest markets in the world. A lot of startups are based here, and we are in the same time zone in the US. We have the same currency with the problems and everything, but some of those elements basically allow to serve the US market at affordable rates, allow you again to grow your business, hire more people, et cetera, et cetera. So the nearshoring is something that is happening, and based on my experience, basically will get bigger in the following years, okay? Based on, all the geopolitical stuff, and in order to relocate industries, basically El Salvador and the region, some countries in the region have have really appealing benefits or skills. And that's it. That's what I have for you guys. I don't know if you have any questions.
Are there any questions from the, right?
No,
From starting from the first invest like $2,000, as I remember, how much time takes? Like, even I can go out from El Salvador the next week with the company here, or is it going to?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah?
Yeah, you can have it in 5 days. And again, you don't need to be here to set up the company, okay? You don't need to come. Basically, the practice is we have two foundational shareholders. They set up the company on behalf of you. Once we have it ready, we sign a share purchase agreement and transfer the shares to you. All can be like electronically signed, transfer. We can courier the documents to you, so you can storage it, or we can save it for you also.
Okay, and the second question is about migration. Is giving like a permission or something to be here, or more than that's the tourist.
Okay, on the migration part, there are some pain points that we are working, but definitely, to me, the best advice is your tourist visa gives you 180 days to be in the country without any other limitation, etc. So if you decide to enter in a permit, a residency permit, the first 2 years, okay, it's an annual permit, okay, but in the first 2-year period, you can only leave the country for 90 days, continuous or non-continuous. So you can leave 2, 5, 10, etc., but no more than 90, okay? So for a lot of people, that is, hey, practically I need to relocate here, okay? So we are working in an amendment to the migration law, so you can also have 180 days to leave the country without a problem and then return, and you can maintain your residency permit. In order to obtain citizenship, besides the program that was shown there is the process that takes 5 years. 4 years to be a permanent resident, and on the fifth year, you can like become a fully permanent resident, not temporary, or apply to citizenship. Okay, or if you want to donate $1 million, you can like go out already with your passport. Okay,
Carlos, got a question here as far as building a business. In order to receive the advantages of accepting Bitcoin and so forth, do you have to apply for a certain license? Like, are all of these based on licenses? Or if you have a business and you accept Bitcoin, is it,
No. If you set up a business and you accept Bitcoin as a payment method, for example, you don't need to apply to any license, okay? There is just another payment method that you have in your business, so it's not mandatory, basically. Yeah.
But do the tax advantages of accepting Bitcoin that way, like, is there zero? I mean, is it just treated as, let's say, normal income and taxed that way as well?
In the practice, why it doesn't have capital gains is because it's legal tender. Okay, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
But as far as the income on the Bitcoin itself, that's taxed too, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Because it's also legal tender, it's like, yeah, you sell $100 of any service, doesn't matter if I pay it in Bitcoin, okay, yeah, you need to invoice it $100 plus value-added tax and some other things.
Understood, thanks.
Regarding the digital assets license, does that mean for digital assets providers or people that are like companies that are helping other companies tokenize, or is that for if your company does tokenize?
There are two types of digital asset license. You can be a digital asset service provider, okay, or you can also work and issue digital assets, okay. If you decide to get on those two paths, you can have the tax benefits with so, okay.
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And I'm with the mining company, and I was curious, what would be a good way to find energy sources and kind of build that network and work towards bringing a business here?
Okay, about the energy grid and the matrix in El Salvador is super complex to give you an answer on that because, we already have new methods of energy, okay, creation. but for traditional method is super expensive. Okay, that's why in some ways it's not fully viable. Okay, I have been dealing with renewable energy methods, especially solar plants that people have built. But again, you have the sad part of that is you have a 8-hour period that you are not collecting sun. Okay, so to me, it could be a mix of different methods in order to try to get it profitable. But again, from Texas, for example, or other jurisdiction is hard, really hard for that type of service.